Hi guys, my name is Darby and welcome back to my YouTube channel. I originally had a very different video planned for this week, but I'm a little bit under the weather right now, so I've elected to do a video that can happen from the comfort of my home with a blanket and cough drops nearby. So this week we've got a simple video. We're just going to go through my Spotify playlists because I've been told by friends that I have oddly specific playlists / oddly specific playlist names. I think they're funny. We'll see if they are or not. So I'm going to show you the album artwork that I've chosen. Album artwork, like I'm an artist. I'm going to show you the playlist artwork that I have chosen, the name of it, and then I'll give you a little overview of kind of what's on that playlist. So let's just get into it. The first playlist we're going to talk about is called Oops, I Crashed the Car. And this playlist, with its beautiful flying car artwork, is songs that I shouldn't be allowed to listen to while operating a motor vehicle. They are mostly throwbacks. They're mostly your R&B, your rap, your dance hits. It's things like Ludacris and Nelly and Akon and old Rihanna and Drake and Usher and Flo Rida. It's all of the old throwbacks that you know and you love that make you really want to dance or sing really aggressively. And it's songs that I should not have to focus on two things at once. Like I should be in the passenger seat just absolutely singing my little heart out, dancing my little heart out. But if I'm behind the wheel of the car, you better hope the airbags work and you better hope those seatbelts are buckled. I'm just gonna scroll through and go chronologically as they come up. Okay, this is a good one. So the next one we're going to talk about is called Proof That Taylor Allison Swift is a Genius. And truthfully, it should just be her entire discography, but I will tell you why this one came about. This one came about because there was this guy that I was kind of talking to, and he told me he likes Taylor Swift's music, but he doesn't think she's a lyrical genius. I took that personally, as anyone would. I took that very personally. So I told him I would make him a playlist of all the songs I thought were so lyrically beautiful that proved her lyrical genius. So that's what this one is. Obviously every single song on it is Taylor Swift. Now he had told me that the only albums he had really truly listened all the way through were Folklore and Evermore. So I mostly left those off of there because he had already told me that he's like, yeah, those are the ones I've listened to and I like them. So he was a new Swiftie. So I went back. It's obviously got All Too Well. This was made a long time ago, but it's been recently updated to the All Too Well 10-minute version. We don't talk anymore, but in case he ever goes back to look at this, because this playlist was shared with him, the All Too Well has now changed into the 10-minute version. It has things like New Year's Day, Sad, Beautiful, Tragic, Treacherous. It's got Safe and Sound, Taylor Swift with the Civil Wars, because I knew he would love that because he likes the Civil Wars. It's got Last Kiss. It's got It's Nice to Have a Friend. It's got You're in Love. It's got all of the beautiful, beautiful lyrical songs. This playlist is an hour and 14 minutes long because I was trying not to overwhelm him. But yeah, this is a good playlist. I still go back to this one sometimes because it's got most of her like really, really beautiful lyrical works on it from the older albums. The next playlist we're going to talk about is called Girl Boss, Giddy Up, Get Revenge. And this stems from a TikTok I made a while back where I said, I don't really like country music much, except for the songs about girls murdering their ex-husbands, or their abusive husbands, or their abusive boyfriends, or people who have cheated on them. That's its own genre, and I would call that genre Girl Boss, Giddy Up, Get Revenge. And people thought that was funny, so this playlist is songs that I knew would go on that playlist that I liked, and then some songs that they had suggested to me. And of course, the songs I added, the reason I made that TikTok is Goodbye Earl by the Chicks, and No Body, No Crime, Taylor Swift. However, everyone else suggested that I add Two Black Cadillacs by Carrie Underwood. We added Picture to Burn by Taylor Swift, Before He Cheats, Carrie Underwood. But that is what that playlist is. It's not a super long playlist. The songs that they suggested that I might like because I like that kind of quote-unquote country. Okay. Sometimes I see the name and I think, what was I doing when I came up with these? And this is one of those playlists where I wish I could remember what started me on this playlist. This is another short playlist, but it's because it is very specific. This playlist is called Doing Drugs in Ibiza, the soundtrack. Now, I have never done drugs and I've never been to Ibiza, but I feel like it would be a very specific soundtrack. Currently, It has 2 songs on there. How Deep Is Your Love, Calvin Harris, and Mi Gente, J Balvin. Those are the only 2. And I know it's probably just because there have been like cheesy Netflix original movie scenes where people are like dancing in a club in Ibiza on drugs to this. However, I think it is a very specific set of music that you would listen to if you were like tripping on something in Ibiza. I could be wrong. I'm never going to personally find out, but I just feel like it's its own specific sound. So if you have any other song suggestions for this playlist, I'll take them so that it can be more than 6 minutes long. Ooh, okay. This next one is a fun one. Something you should know about me is I love cheesy movies. I really do. I love cheesy movies. However, my favorite cheesy movies are 90s and early 2000s cheesy movies. I'm talking Disney Channel original movies. I'm talking rom-coms. I'm talking all of it. All of the cheesy movies that came about during the 90s and the early 2000s are like some of my favorite movies. This playlist is called Life is a Cheesy Movie Montage because it's the songs you would hear in pretty much every one of these movies. Like, it was a very specific soundtrack back then. You would hear the same songs in a lot of different movie soundtracks back in the day. It's got Hope 7, which sings I Want Everything and Breakthrough, which you would hear in all of the like early 2000s and 90s cheerleading movies, the gymnastics movies, the figure skating movies. Anything where there was like a girls' athletic competition, you would hear these songs. Love it. I also have Drama Queen by Lindsay Lohan from the Confessions of a Teenage Drama Queen soundtrack, which is a bop, and you can't tell me it's not. I have He Said, She Said, Ashley Tisdale, which is on some of my other playlists, my just like everyday playlists, because I really like that song. It's got Right Where You Want Me, Justin McCartney. It's got On the Ride, Ally and AJ. What makes you feel like the main character in a 90s and 2000s like rom-com, which is the vibe I'm always going for, honestly. Okay, we've gotten to my only other country playlist, and it's called Yehaw But Make It Tolerable. Because as I've said before, I don't really truly like country. I make some exceptions. I like a lot of the female artists from back in the day, like Shania Twain. I do like Shania Twain. I do like the Chicks. I obviously like early Taylor Swift. A little bit of Dolly Parton on here, because Dolly's just a good person, so how can you not love her? I have Jolene. I also have Miley Cyrus's version of Jolene on here, because I like it a lot. I have Rascal Flatts' Life is a Highway, because car soundtrack, come on, of course. I do have Breadwinner by Casey Musgraves on here. That's probably the only current country song I have on here as I scroll. Oh, I do also have You Should Be Sad by Halsey, which isn't a full country song, but she said she kind of did it in a country style, so I added that one. Oh, and This Kiss by Faith Hill, because that's just another classic one that even if you don't like country, I mean, come on, everyone knows that song. This next playlist title is based off of a TikTok audio, because of course it is, and the playlist title is It's a Good Vibe, a Great Vibe Even, based off of It's a Good Joke, a Great Joke Even, which was my friend's favorite audio at the time I made this. This playlist was for her. She told me she listens to like the same 3 artists all the time, and she asked me to suggest some new music. So some of it's mainstream artists that I think she should give a chance to, that I think she would like, and then some of it's the smaller bands that I really like that I think that everyone should give a chance to. So let's go with the mainstream. On here for mainstream, we have some Zara Larsson, because I think she would really like her. There is some newer Ed Sheeran, Marina, as in like Marina and the Diamonds. There's some Fletcher on here that I think she'd really like. There's some Coin on here, a couple of Bryce Vine tracks, some Nina Nesbitt, who I love dearly. For the smaller bands that I thought she should listen to that I'll just go ahead and highlight, because maybe someone watching this would also like to check them out. I have 90s Kids, which is a band from Ohio, and they make really good music, but they're also really nice guys, and I love when that happens. They're a band I met completely on accident because they opened for someone else, and I just really like their music. So I suggested to her Love Like That, Slow Motion, Mandy Moore, and 16, all by 90s Kids. So give them a listen if you haven't already. I also have some Public the Band on here. Some of you may know Public as the TikTok famous band. They did Make You Mine, which is the Put Your Hand in Mine song that like blew up on TikTok a while back. But they are also genuinely nice guys from Ohio. Band I met on accident years ago because they opened for Jesse McCartney when I saw him back in 2018, before they blew up on TikTok. Genuinely really fun music. And I suggested to her their song Little Drama Queen, their song Splash, and their songs Pretty Face and My Love. So give them a try if you haven't listened to anything other than Make You Mine by them. They make genuinely good music. The last small band that I suggested to her is probably my favorite, and it is the band Friends at the Falls. Amazing. Love their music. There is not a song of theirs that I don't like, truly and honestly. And to her, I suggested to listen to Pretend You're Okay, Be the Change, and Start Over Again. And that is tailored basically just off of her preferences in music, that I knew that she prefers that style of music, but there isn't a bad song by them. So go ahead and give Friends at the Falls a listen. Okay, this next playlist with the iconic Lauren Conrad as the playlist artwork is called Songs I've Deaf Cried to in My '02 Chevy Cavalier. First and foremost, yes, I used to drive an '02 Chevy Cavalier. That was my first car. I do not drive that car anymore, but I loved her dearly. And this is, as the title says, my crying playlist. This is also really eclectic because you just never know what's gonna get me, depending on the day. It's got So Close from the Enchanted soundtrack, because that song tends to get me. It's got some Sarah Bareilles on here. It's got Hold On by Chord Overstreet, which makes me think of the Vampire Diaries and therefore then cry. It's got I Hope You Dance, because that one makes me think of high school graduation and then college graduation, any of the times that like you're graduating and you play those songs and you just like cry. This playlist has been around for a while. It's got Iris by the Goo Goo Dolls. It's got The Only Exception by Paramore. It's got 1,000 Years, Christina Perri. It's got Happier by Ed Sheeran. It's got a lot of the early Ed Sheeran, honestly. Anyway, we don't need to go into all of my crying songs, but that is my crying playlist. And the last playlist we're going to talk about today is probably the most oddly specific. And it's called That One Dream Where You Can Actually Sing and Audition for Broadway. And it is all of my show tunes. All of my show tunes are on this playlist, and as I've mentioned before in videos, and if you know me in real life, you know that I cannot sing. And that really hurt me as a young adult because I was a theater kid. I so desperately wanted to be the lead in every musical and could never be the lead in any musical. I loved being underneath the stage lights, I loved performing, and I did some regular theater where I got bigger roles, but I always just loved musicals and never got to be a lead. Because I'm tone deaf and I can't sing, and I don't blame them for not casting me as the lead. But these are the songs that I would love to be able to sing. And we've got all kinds of stuff on here. We've got most of the Chicago soundtrack. We've got Hairspray on here. We've got some Sound of Music on here. We have some Anastasia, both the original animated movie and the Broadway show. We have a little mix of both. Don't Rain on My Parade. Yes, this is the Glee cast version. Don't Come For Me. I have Part of Your World, but it's the Jodie Benson version, not the Broadway version, because Jodie Benson is my queen and I adore her. It's got pretty much the entire Mamma Mia and Mamma Mia 2 soundtrack on here. It's got part of the Legally Blonde soundtrack on here, the musical, not the movie. We've got a lot of the Rent soundtrack and pretty much the entire Wicked soundtrack on here, because those are the shows that I really wish I could just belt out a tune for. If you've made it to this point in the video, thank you so much for watching. I know this was not the most exciting content, but it's about what I could handle right now while feeling under the weather. I'm gonna go edit this video and crawl right back into bed if I'm being honest. Next week's video will be more interesting, I promise, because I already have it planned out and I'm very excited about it. But thank you for watching this video, and if you like this video, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe below, and I'll see you next week. Bye.